the garden. Today I'm going to show you how to propagate snake plants from cuttings. This can take a really long time, but luckily it's fairly easy to do. The secret to propagating these is water. Really kind of surprising. It is really important to have a healthy plant to begin with. This plant has a little bit of a wrinkled leaf, so I think we're going to water this and then wait about a week before we take any cuttings. A few of these other plants though look really healthy, and I think we can sacrifice a couple leaves to propagate. I'm taking a segment of about 5 to 6 inches, and we'll just make a nice clean cut. It's really important to keep these upright. They're only going to grow roots from down at the base, so if they're upside down, you're really not going to have any luck. So I recommend that you set them in an empty glass right away, just like this. It can be really easy to turn these around and have them upside down. And I'm using just an empty glass for now because we want to allow these wounds to heal. But it should only take 1 or 2 days. So we're just going to cut little 4 or 5 inch segments until we use the whole thing. Now with all our new cuttings upright and in a dry container, we can wait about a day or 2 before adding water. And then keep an eye on that water level. It will go down over time from evaporation and transpiration through these leaves. But with any luck, we'll start to see roots in a few months. The new roots will be white, and they kind of turn orange as they mature. And this is another one of our cuttings that sprouted. Look at that. This actually has 2 new growth points. That's really cool. It's got lots of roots. So I think I'm ready to actually plant these out in some soil. Because they take so long, this one actually has salt deposits and calcium and stuff. That's just in our water from evaporation. But a little bit of water and a nice gentle scrub, and that should come right off. You may see some of your cuttings turning translucent, like this little spot over here, and that can spread and actually take your entire cutting. I think I've lost about half of our cuttings to rot. Now just because they're starting to rot doesn't mean they're going to die. This one actually rotted about halfway and actually began to grow roots from way up here by where it was rotting. So I just planted that one out and it's actually doing okay. And just to save space in the garden, I've popped in a couple crassula cuttings and even this little sedum. There's actually another great way to propagate snake plants, and that's by transplanting these little pups. If you have a really nice healthy plant, like this one, which is my favorite, it really reminds me of a snake. Especially when they're young, they have these little tongues at the top of the leaves. And then these striped patterns just look like snake skins. They're really beautiful. But a really happy plant should send out new pups like this. Now these are actually attached by the rhizome, or the root. And you're going to have to break that off. So it's a good idea to wait until these are mature enough to survive on their own. But for now, I'm just going to leave this one, and we'll propagate a few more cuttings. So I took one more cutting, and we're just going to do the same thing we did with the first one, and cut little 5 or 6 inch sections, and make sure that we keep them upright. But again, we're going to let these wounds callus over for a couple of days. You probably don't have to wait this long to plant these out. You should be able to put them in soil as long as they have a few roots. Now moving things from water into soil can be a little bit tricky, but we're just going to treat these like any other succulent, let them dry out in between waterings, and then give them a really healthy soak. So I'm using terracotta. That'll help it dry out a little bit. I'm just using my normal succulent soil, and it's just a cheap potting mix with some extra perlite mixed in. So we'll probably plant these about halfway up, right about to where they were submerged underwater. And that might seem a little bit deep, but any little sprouts will have no trouble shooting up through that soil. So with a half-empty container, we can really simply just set these in where we like them. That way you can get them just how you want them before we actually add the rest of our soil. So I want to space these out so they get good sunlight. I'm just combining them for convenience. So now we'll top this up with some soil. I'm going to get them upright. So a little tap. So now we can water these in. Now it might be another month or two until we see those new sproutlings pop up. But because these greens are getting plenty of sun, the plants should be really healthy. They'll start to really vigorously set down new roots. And we'll just treat these like any other succulent now. So in just a few minutes we've planted out a brand new container of snake plants and taken several new cuttings. I hope you give this a go in your garden, propagating your own snake plants by taking leaf cuttings. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.